for Jesus tonight? Awesome, guys. This next song that I'm going to do, it's a personal song of mine. It's about my story. It's called She Was Only 9. Now, when I was younger, I went through a few things that a young girl shouldn't have to go through. And by the time I got to the age of 17, I overdosed and attempted to take my life because I didn't want to be here anymore. It wasn't going good. But what happened was my God stepped in. I tell you what, my God stepped in, that's right. Amen. Now, I lived back in New Zealand back then. I was working at a place called The Warehouse. Wariwhare, I don't know if there's any Kiwis in the house. This young guy came up to me in the toys aisle one day, just randomly, about 2 weeks after I'd been let out of hospital. And he said, man, I used to be really depressed, eh? And then God came in and filled this gap in my life. And I was thinking to myself, man, have I got a gap? And he invited me to go along to church. First time, never been before in my life, never. I arrived. After the service, a woman comes up to me and she says, God's got something to say to you. And I'm thinking to myself, like, it talks? This thing? I've never heard of this thing, God, and it actually talks? She's like, yeah, man, God can talk to you right here, right now. And this is what he has to say. He knows who you are. He knows where you've been. He knows that you've been hurt in the past by men, and he wants to come in and heal that hurt. In that moment, I felt like every single wall around me just came down. I felt so vulnerable because this woman had just said something that I had never even verbalized or vocalized or understood myself. I knew in that moment that my God was real. God is so good. Now, yeah, amen. Give God a round of applause. He is awesome. You know, he does. He steps in and speaks to us in the moment when we need to hear it. And man, he will dive right into your situation. Now, I'll never forget, I just want to tell you a little bit more. I'll never forget the first Bible verse that I ever read was this. Yes, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, with loving kindness, I have drawn you. Again, I will build you, and you shall be rebuilt. Amen. Now, this is what God said to me in that verse. God said to me, I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have drawn you. I drew you into myself, but I drew the blueprints for your life. You have gone this way. I have drawn them to go this way. Again, I will build you, and you shall be rebuilt. Amen. God is so good. I tell you one last thing. Now, about 3 years on from this, I've been hanging out and kicking it with God for a while now, and I love him, man. He is so good. He is so good. I know he's the reason I'm alive, but he is so good. So I was hanging out at this young girl's house about 3 years on from now, and this woman walks into the room, and she goes through into the kitchen. I didn't really see her, but I started hearing this thing in my spirit, her prayers, her prayers, her prayers, her prayers. And I was like, I've got to get up and go and talk to whoever that person is that just walked into this house. And I got up and went into the kitchen and had a chat with this woman. And it turned out that she was actually the nurse that had looked after me back when I had overdosed. And she had prayed for my salvation. And I was able to tell her there and then that 2 weeks later, I was saved and met God, and my entire life was changed. And I know now that I've got a purpose. Give God a round of applause. DJ Ketch, hit it. She was on 9 when they took... Oh, yeah. She was only 9 when they took away her innocence for the first time. 14, had her first drink. Sinking deeper, wasn't thinking either. Told her friends, but nobody would believe her. 15, she's taking off her clothes. Going home with men that she doesn't even know, cause she's empty, lost, going out alone. Looking for a place that she can call home. And he's got a nice car, so she goes for a ride. Each time it takes away a little bit from inside, but she keeps it to herself, and these secrets she hides, cause she was only 9.
Daddy, where were you when I was all alone? If you hurt me, why did you leave me on my own? Can you hear me? Did you even care? Daddy, why weren't you there? Daddy, where were you when I was all alone? If you hurt me, why did you leave me on my own? Can you hear me? Did you even care? Daddy, why weren't you there?
16, she's kicked out of school. Didn't show up because the other kids were cool. They were staring, that life behind her back, but she could hear them. She took their words as facts, sinking deeper, trying to fill the gap, but she's hurting, and she's got no place to go. Nobody saw her when she reached her lowest low. 17, Took a long drive, took a couple extra pills, hoping that she would die. When they found her and attempted to revive, she said, Daddy.
Daddy, where were you when I was all alone? If you hurt me, why did you leave me on my own? Can you hear me? Did you even care? Daddy, why weren't you there? Daddy, where were you when I was all alone? If you hurt me, why did you leave me on my own? Can you hear me? Did you even care? Daddy, why weren't you there?
Daddy spoke out, he said, I know who you are. I've been there and I saw you in the car. I was with you when you went with those men. I know everything and you don't have to pretend. I love you, I've known you from the start. I know everything about you and I'll heal your broken heart. Promise, baby girl, that I built you this way, and none of this pain is ever gonna stay. So I love you and I will build you up again. Yeah, I'll take away your brokenness, I'll take away your pain. Cause you're my daughter and that will never change.
Daughter, let me hear your broken heart. I can hear you. I am your missing part. I rebuild your life and put you back together. I won't leave you ever. Daughter, let me hear your broken heart. I can hear you. I am your missing part. I rebuild your life and put you back together. I won't leave you ever.
Amen, amen. Our God is so good. Our God is so good. Thank you so much for joining us in that song.